I see dead people.
Hawks and vultures are often seen soaring majestically high in the sky.
I want you to do your research and spread truth, which is liberation. People are living lives. Our history has been completely changed in order to meet the lives of this country.
Dom de Monco. Dom de Monco.
All right, one at a time, y'all. We got the Incredible Hulk in the building. What's up, man?
Oh, shit.
Ain't no issue. If it was an issue, you'll feel me. I just come to let y'all know, stop, put some respect on my name. You understand me? When y'all saying my name, put some respect on me.
All right, one at a time, y'all. We got the Incredible Hulk in the building. What's up, man?
Oh, shit.
And it's known, it's written, that the righteous shall inherit the kingdom of God, the earth. And the wicked shall be shaken out.
Peace to the tribes, peace to the tribes. You know the vibes. Stop the music. It is I, the incredible, the inevitable. Let me start that from the top. You know what I'm talking about? Straight up. We want to get it right and exact. Right? It is I, the incredible, inevitable Hulk, goddammit. Just say it, all right? Just say it. If you're new here, this is what we do here. This is Hawk School for the Gifted and the Elect, and we're broadcasting live from the emphatically immaculate Republic of Atlantis. You know what I'm talking about?
Dom de Monco. Dom
Share
de
the live
Monco.
stream. We're gonna fly higher today.
I thought you were a black guy. Hey, you're Indian? Yeah. Oh, come on, man. Yeah, you gotta be kidding.
Indian are you? I want you to do your research and spread truth, which is liberation. People are living lives. Our history has been completely changed in order to meet the lives of this country.
Even in the midst of staggering loss, war stimulates progress. Ironclad ships, repeating rifles, and the military telegraph system were all developed during the Civil War. In 1860, Thaddeus Lowe, an accomplished aeronaut, approached Joseph Henry with a radical idea: flying hydrogen balloons for military reconnaissance.
Henry walks him down to the White House and introduces him to Abraham Lincoln.
To demonstrate its strategic potential, Lowe filled his balloon at the Washington Gas Works, on the spot where the National Air and Space Museum stands today. then took flight and sent the world's first airborne telegram to Lincoln at the White House.
Stop the video. Stop the video. All right? We're going to get to the intro and all that fly shit. Put a 1 in the chat if you have heard of the Balloon Corps of the Civil War. Put a 2 if you didn't know we could fly. Oh, yeah. This gonna be one of them ones. Share the live stream.
Subscribe to the Unconquered Tribe. You are now live with the incredible host.
Wow,
This
Indian
is House
TV.
School for the Gifted and the Elect.
They haul him down, not quite to the ground, but close, and they walk the balloon with Lowe still in the basket down the mall and around the corner to the White House. And Lincoln comes out and thinks this is a really good idea. There would not have been a balloon corps if it had not been for Abraham Lincoln. I'll often refer to it as Mr. Lincoln's Air Force.
Lowe builds 7 balloons and devises a way to inflate them in the field.
He actually invents portable hydrogen generators, big tanks that are mounted on army wagons.
Wait, stop the video. Stop the video. Portable hydrogen engines. Now, if you're new and you're roaming the halls, all right, or maybe you're just a rat, all right, vermin in the bushes, all right, who knows? Or you may be of the gifted and the elect, and you are in the right place because, yes, we can fly, folks. We can fly, all right? Now, these guys will talk real heavy, all right, and act like they've done all their research. They know everything there is to know about everything there is to know. Oh, no, not just balloons, all right? We'll say airships, the dirigibles, all right, that we're already familiar with, all right? When you do the etymology on that, it goes back to airship, all right? So we're going to get into this a little heavy. We'll finish this video, and then we'll get into some more reading and some more history, all right? Because this actually goes back very far, all right? And this is, I believe it's Pascal from Palenque, all right? And he's supposed to be in an airship, all right? And I don't want to be too all over the place because we have a very great history, a long legacy, all right? Too high for pigeons to fly, we walk on the water and live in the sky. You know what I'm talking about?
Dom the Mongo. Dom the
Well, you see
Mongo.
they're saying they're inventing this, all right? We'll let the video play, and then we'll get into it. Please share the live stream. This is going to be a heavyweight build, and you're going to learn quite a bit, all right?
And you fill them up, and he actually invents portable hydrogen generators, big tanks that are mounted on army wagons. And you fill them up with oil of vitriol and tons of iron filings and gallons of dilute sulfuric acid. And the stuff bubbles away in kind of a frightening way inside these tanks on wheels, and out comes hydrogen. With sulfuric acid.
All right, let's run that back, folks. All right, because what you see here is an alchemical process, all right, being manifest during the Civil War era, when the so-called Negro, the American Indian, was said to be in bondage, all right, or somewhere living in a teepee, for God's sake. All right? Can you believe the audacity? But we're gonna do what we usually do and show and prove, all right, who the true heirs of the land are, all right? Because these guys talk all about the Civil War, all right? You haven't heard anybody, all right, talk about the Balloon Air Corps, all right, or the fact that we had these airships, all right, and this goes back way back, all right, but it was known, it was very known knowledge and science, all right, and actually so much so that where is that other image? So much so that they had actually mastered using the jet stream, all right, and this is an excerpt from some of the reading we'll be doing later, but John Wise, all right, is the guy's name, who they're giving credit to, all right, where is it? They're giving all the credit to John Wise, and we'll get into that. I got quite a bit here, all right. Here's Robert Cocking, pause, all right. Now, who even knew that this guy, he was the first person to die from a parachuting accident, all right? 1776 to 1837, British watercolor artist who died in the first parachute accident. All right. Some of this stuff we're just gonna give you a little surface knowledge. All right. The first modern parachute jump had been carried out in 1785 by Jean-Pierre Blanchard. All right. And this is when these brotherhoods are getting a hold of the information. But the first parachute, 1785, because I just found out about the United Druid Order of another order, all right, another so-called secret order where they're stealing our knowledge and sciences, because as we know, this goes back to the Quran and the time of King Solomon. All right, it's in the Bible, it's in the Quran, we know that. All right, but before we get into that, I want to talk about Wise. It says he recognized that the heat from the sun played a valuable role in warming the gas in the balloon and built a black balloon to utilize the effects. He was the first, allegedly, to observe the jet stream, all right? Noting there was a quote-unquote great river of air, which always blows from east to west, all right? On August 17th, 1859, he made the first flight of local airmail in the U.S. from Lafayette, Indiana to Crawfordsville, Indiana, in a balloon named Jupiter, carrying 123 letters. All right, now, I don't know if, did we play that whole video? Because these guys actually sent a telegram, all right? They were sending telegrams down to Abraham Lincoln, all right? Hold on, and we actually have the primary source for that, all right? None of this shit is make-believe. This is not a conspiracy video, all right? And even here we have, but this is in July 1900, so we'll wait to talk about that, all right? Yeah, this is aerial reconnaissance, all right? They were doing actual aerial reconnaissance during the Civil War, folks, all right? Says Thaddeus Lowe, a private hot air balloon pilot in 1861, launched this hot air balloon, all right, from the lawn of the White House. He ran a telegraph wire across the lawn from his hot air balloon directly into the White House, folks. Let me zoom in on this, all right, before they think we're making something up, all right, because I thought these guys were your master teachers, all right? Directly into the White House, folks. In the service room of the White House, an extremely excited Morse code operator awaited a message from aloft sent from 500 feet above the White House. The following message caused President Lincoln to form the balloon course and named Thaddeus Lowe its chief aeronaut. All right? The Balloon Enterprise, Washington, D.C., 16th June, 1861. All right? Let me get this so I can see it a little better. It says, to President of the United States, this point of observation commands an area nearly 50 miles in diameter. The city with its girdle of encampment presents a superb scene. I have pleasure in sending you this first dispatch ever telegraphed from an aerial station, and in acknowledging indebtedness to your encouragement for the opportunity of demonstrating the availability of the science of aeronautics in the service of the country. All right, so these Brotherhood guys, they've got a hold of the science, and here's the actual document. All right, the Magnetic Telegraph Company, printing in Morse lines, direct to all stations in the United States and British provinces, folks. All right, as you see, dated Balloon Enterprise, 1861. All right, so this method of travel, all right, and let's just continue to read for a minute. Within a month of this momentous demonstration, President Lincoln called the balloon corps to build 80 gas balloons. All right, Lowe's gas balloons would go on to ascend over 3,000 times during the Civil War. So you mean to tell me that they were using balloons as reconnaissance 3,000 times and you guys haven't seen it once in your research? All right, and they actually have images of this stuff, folks. All right, they have actual Civil War era images. All right, of them filling these balloons. All right, that they're using for reconnaissance. Yeah, that's right, Thunder Media. Wi-Fi. All right, they had the Wi-Fi on in 1861, folks. All right, here's and they have plenty of images that are depictions, you know what I mean? But I wanted to get real, actual photos, all right, to show and prove, all right, that we're doing the due diligence over here, all right? Now, and there's even some who say that the Nazca lines, all right, that have been a mystery, allegedly, all right, are nothing more than this ancient knowledge, all right? And as you see, this is supposed to be a recreation of the hot air balloons from the time of the Aztecs, allegedly. All right, because it says the Aztecs are thought to be the very first people in history to make "quote unquote" balloon animals out of the bowels of cats to be presented to the gods as a sacrifice. The bowels were carefully cleaned, turned inside out, and sewn with a special vegetable thread whose main property was that it stuck to itself when left to dry in the sun, and this produced an almost airtight seal. The bowels were then twisted and air was blown into them after each twist. Who knew, folks? But I don't want to distract you. I just want you to see that the science of inflating balloons has been around for a long time. All right, and they'll talk about these ancient astronauts. All right, when it's really not that much of a mystery once we connect a few dots. All right, now that we know that Abraham Lincoln, all right, and here's the actual document. All right. And I got this from SeattleBallooning.com, all right? And these are people talking about hot air balloons, all right? They're not talking about history. They're not talking about Aborigines. They're not talking about stealing the so-called Negro of America's inventions. They're not talking about any of that, all right? This is known knowledge that has been completely overlooked, all right? Completely overlooked. And as you can see, the science of algebra and what is this? Alchemical science, all right? The knowledge of elements goes hand in hand with this, all right? And this is the one talking about the Nazca lines and all this, all right? But here you see another depiction, all right? This is 1783 flight of the Mongolier hot air balloon, all right? The Montgolfier, brothers, all right, didn't manage to build a man-carrying balloon until 1783. All right, and as you can see, these are the French. All right, we know these are Brotherhood members. All right, still in our high sciences. All right, and this is how they're getting these sciences and reverse engineering. All right, but what is this depiction, people, from the 1700s? All right. And yeah, that was Pakal, the Mayan ruler, all right? And they're going to say he's a time traveler, all right, because he's depicted as flying, all right? Theories surrounding Pakal the Great range from him being an astronaut to a time traveler, all right? And that's as a result of the depiction on his sarcophagus, all right? Where is it? At first they thought that the tombstone was just an altar, but when they removed it, they found the sarcophagus of a ruler. It was when they discovered that the Mesoamerican pyramids also served as mausoleums as the Egyptians used to. And this is Palenque. All right. And once you do the research on that internally, it's designed just like the temple in Giza. Do I have that image up? Because we have quite a few dots to connect, but all right, let's bring this up. All right. And I'm just sort of freestyling, so bear with me, but all right, this says identified by the label and this is from a page from Barry Fell's book Saga of America, I believe, right? I just read America BC, which actually he wrote before Saga America, but Saga America has a lot of the Arabic in it. All right, and this is an inscription. All right, because we find in the Quran that it says that King Solomon was given the ability to control the winds. All right, and I find it very interesting that this says identified by the label. All right, Hawa, which literally means wind. All right, the letters of the inscription antedate the Tifnag style and may date, the diagram to earlier than the 1st century AD. All right, and oddly enough, among other sites used for the teaching of navigation was Lago Maracino, 10 miles northeast of Virginia City, folks. Known since 1904 when it was discovered by John Reed, the site, now protected by the state of Nevada, has been investigated by Stewart, 1929, and University of California, Berkeley. Archaeologists, but no meaning could be attached to the signs, as is now evident the purpose of the site was instruction in navigation and geography, folks. All right, the example reads in Kufic Arabic, the commensurate equivalent conversion of spherical azimuths of land and ocean waters to plain surface. A Libyan text reads 5 conversion. It is one of a series of inscriptions dealing with conic projections in mapping. All right, and this is actually found in Nevada. All right, so we are highly skilled in knowledge of navigation, all right, and of the earth. Because I want to do a separate build on this, but I wanted to bring that navigation map up. Let's see, do we want that? No, we don't want that. Let's get back to this. Because it's a lot to cover, but I wanted to really keep it on the Civil War. But I wanted to show and prove that our knowledge of navigation and flight and these rivers in the sky, if you will, all right, this is not anything new to us, all right? And here's that same, do I have that same image of Pakal, the ruler? Because, Pakal, all right, he's said to be the king, all right? Now, we had a story of King Solomon who could, I believe it was, go a 30 days course in a day, a month's course or 2 months course in a matter of a day, all right? And Solomon, not only was the wind subservient to him, right, but he's known to have built great structures, all right? So I'm just, it's kind of interesting to me as I'm doing all this all this research when we see Palenque, all right, that Pakal is supposed to be the ruler over this place. All right, but and matter of fact, let's go back here. Let's get into this book here. I have a book from this is Military Aeronautics prior to 1861. All right, and I'll go back to the cover in a minute. But it says, although air observation as a branch of military science is generally associated with recent advancements in the field of modern tactics, the use of balloons in warfare is not a recent origin. The earliest public suggestion of employing balloons with armies in the field seems to have been made in France, all right, shortly after the beginning of practical experiments in aerostations, all right. Aerostation, the brothers Montgolfier, all right, we just read that, demonstrated the first successful balloon at Anani near Lyons on June 5th, 1783. And that's why I brought up that secret order, all right, because you see this it was developed in 1781. All right, but in 1783, using heated air, all right, for ascensive power. All right, the experiment was closely followed by that of the distinguished physicist J.A.C. Charles and the brothers Robert, who sent aloft the first hydrogen balloons from the Champ de Mars in Paris on August 27th of the same year. Some 3 weeks later, Joseph Montgolfier repeated his demonstration at Versailles before the court of Louis, whatever the fuck. All right, I don't know how to read Roman. Okay. Sending up on this occasion the celebrated sheep, duck, and cock that have been known since as the first aerial passengers in history. Thus far, the balloon had been proved to be a practical reality, but no human beings as yet had ventured aloft. All right, so they're still were running experiments in the 1700s, but this is something that, like I said, is in the history. All right, we'll fast forward to them in a minute, but before we do to that, let's get, and we see this reflected not only in actual structures, all right, and books and images, but even in holy texts, all right, when they speak on the wheel, all right, in Ezekiel, and it says wherever the spirit would go, they would go. And the wheels would rise along with them because the spirit of the living creatures was in the wheels. When the creatures moved, they also moved. When the creatures stood still, they also stood still. And when the creatures rose from the ground, the wheels rose along with them because the spirit of the living creature was in the wheels. All right? And I find that very interesting because when you see depictions of these, they would be, you might think it was a wheel in the sky. All right, and these are all plates, all right, different aeronautics, all right. This is how far back this goes. So we know that this comes from somewhere, right? And we're going to get to that. And if you think I'm just making shit up, all right, about these brotherhood guys, you know how I get down. So we've done the due diligence. Let's get, and this is even clean into the 1900s, all right? You see that these images, all right? This is what you think is new. We know that this isn't new. Anything they're doing is being reverse engineered, all right? And we'll get to that in a minute, but before, is this one I wanted to read? John Lamontin. Because he's the guy who was over the John Lamontin of Troy, New York, spent a great deal of his adult life as a merchant seaman prior to his apprenticeship in the late 1850s, all right, with America's grand old man of ballooning, John Wise. Wise, who made his first aerial ascent in 1835 in a balloon of his own inventions, also had his eyes on the elusive conquest of the Atlantic Ocean. Little is known of the exact circumstances that brought Wise and Lamont together, though Wise would later recall that Lamont was an apt pupil whose experience as a seaman made him proficient in the management of sailing paraphernalia and in the prognostication of weather. All right. 1859, Wise had raised sufficient funds to construct a balloon over 50,000 cubic feet in size, complete with a lifeboat gondola slung under the ship's enormous back. All right, and this is where we're getting this image from. Where is it? I just had it up. I think I've opened too many pictures. Where's the gondolas? That's the same description that they're giving us there. All right, let's see if there's another one though that was better. Let's get rid of that. There's another example, all right, of the gondola connected to the balloon, but we had the better image that was more recent. But I guess for the time period, I guess that would be what they're describing. All right. Here, let's read from here before we go any further. I think that's the one. Yeah, there's the other image with the gondola. All right, but we'll see that this goes further back. There's the one I really wanted to see. Yeah. And there was actually, there it is. There was actually a battle between the Wright brothers, all right, and the other guy involving these airships, all right, because they were in competition, all right. More plates, all right. Just tons of designs of these all through history, all right. And if it's coming from France in the 1700s, then we know that that's stolen knowledge, all right. Those are stolen sciences. It says the ship was appropriately christened Atlantic because a significant portion of the funding for the Atlantic came from St. Louis, Missouri. The completed airship was shipped there in 1859, where it was ready for a shakedown flight that was to terminate in Boston before embarking for Europe. All right, so they're flying to Europe, folks. All right, in a goddamn hot air balloon, in an airship. And nobody ever told us about any of this. All right, and I'm pretty sure I know why. It says, compared to the civilization, history, and naval warfare, the history of aviation is very recent, only about a century old. The camera film was created in 1825. 70 years later, motion picture was shown for the first time before an audience in Berlin. Likewise, early developments, in aviation are well recorded because the history of the aerostat started long before that of the aeroplane. It is less known. Ancient inscriptions and texts indicate that the Chinese used hot air balloons and gigantic kites before the Christian era in order to keep the battlefield under surveillance. The Mongols used illuminated kites to communicate during the Battle of Legnica against the Poles. Against who? The Poles and the Germans in 1241 AD. All right. Much later after that, the Legnica battle, Portugal became one of the most powerful nations in the world, which came about thanks to who, folks? Well, the crypto Jews, the Knights Templars, all right? One of the most famous, let's get it full screen in case they think I'm freestyling. One of the most famous Christian military orders under the influence of French King Philip. All right, so there's the French connection again, folks, okay? In case you thought I was making something up. Shout out to everybody that's tuned in. Put some gems in the chat if you can hear me loudly and clearly. All right, and this is depicted in art, all right? 1700s, all right? But what I found most interesting about this depiction, all right, is you see the ship, all right? And this is 1700s, folks, all right? This is 1700s. Let me see, I think, is it written on this one? The Descent de la Machine Aerostatique, all right? And you see, it looks like they're getting out of a ship. But what nobody told you, all right, when you see these ships, is that they were in the goddamn air flying, all right? Shout out to motherfucking Yamaha Gold in the chat. Tribe. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's what I'm talking about. General Hawksley versus Slow, always Pan-Africans, Moors, and peons. Yeah, man, when I discovered this, I'm like, what the fuck? I ain't even gonna lie, bro. Like, I be finding shit. I was actually, you know how I stumbled across this, all right, because I was studying the Jayhawkers, all right, the Buffalo Soldiers, all right, the Knights of the, Catholic Knights, all right, Knights of the Columbus, Knights of Malta, and these Jayhawker guys, which are Knights of the Golden Circle. We come to find out knight means boy or servant, vassal. So these vassals, all right, these servants, these Templars, all right, have been stealing all the sauce, all right, and giving it to their zaddy. And we could trace that down. Let's get rid of some of these images, all right? We want to keep that one up, all right? That's gangster, you know what I'm talking about? They rather give credit to some damn astronauts, all right, than let you niggas know that you knew how to fly. But here it is, all right. These are active during the Civil War, folks. Active during the Civil War. Let's get back to the reading. Portugal became one of the most powerful nations in the world, which came about thanks to the Knights Templar, one of the most famous Christian military orders. Now, we were just watching a live stream. Shout out to Aboriginal Power and the guy Ali Muhammad. All right, he's talking about how all of these African nations had converted to Christianity. All right, and these nations were Saracens prior to that. All right. And what you'll find about is the Portuguese. You have the Luso-Africans, which they call themselves Portuguese, all right? Luso-Africans, Lusso hyphen, what is it? African, all right? Shit. So these guys are... These are the Christian Knights, all right? It says one of the famous Christian military orders under the influence of the French King Philippe le Beau, the Pope, le Beau is nasty work. Pope Clement V declared an internal crusade against them, all right, on Friday, October 13th, 1307, a date possibly linked to the origin of the Friday the 13th legend, all right? So this is part of it, folks. All right, Philip had all French Templars simultaneously arrested, charged with numerous heresies, and tortured by French authorities, nominally under the Inquisition until they allegedly confess. All right. Let me get this up. This action released Philip from his obligation to repay huge loans from the Templars. All right, so he pulled the old triple cross on them, all right? No, let's not stray too far, all right? And I might have to change the name of this just because we're going to be covering so much, you know, dealing with flight, all right? In 1312, blah, 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 blah. In 1314, 3 Templar leaders, including Grand Master Jacques de Molay, all right, Hugh de Perrot, and Godfrey de Gonville, were burned alive at the stake by French authorities after publicly renouncing any guilt. Remaining Templars around Europe, having been arrested and tried under the papal investigation, were either absorbed into other military orders, such as the Orders of Christ and the Knights Hospitaller, or Contemplative, Benedictine or Augustinian ones. In Portugal, they found refuge under the Order of Christ. The Templars brought to Portugal treasures, knowledge of ancient civilization, and what, folks? A naval technology from the Arabians, which triggered the naval navigation era, making Portugal one of the most powerful nations in the world. All right. Under the European expansion brought by the navigation era, Brazil was discovered by Portugal in 1500. All right. Brazilian Jesuit Bartolomeu de Gusmão, born in Brazil to Portuguese parents, adopted a religious career and moved to Portugal when he was 15 years old. By reading antique writings, possibly brought to Portugal by Templars, he rediscovered, folks. All right, let's get it big screen because, you know, they say I think I'm the chosen one. All right. I just might be. All right, bitch, I might be.
Subscribe to the Unconquered Tribe. You are now live with the incredible host.
Wow,
this
Indian
is Hulk
TV.
School for the gifted and the elect.
I digress. Let's get this on the main share, all right? Where were we? He rediscovered, folks, the principle of the hot air balloon. In when, folks? August 1709, all right? August 1709, he rediscovered it, all right? Guzmão built a small and unmanned balloon and performed a demonstration at the court of Kingdom Wow the fifth, excuse me. There are reports that Guzmão built an unmanned larger balloon that freely ascended outdoors sometimes later. Bartolomeu de Guzmão proceeded with his experiments with larger balloons, and legend has it eventually he himself flew a balloon which launched from St. Jorge Castle on the top of one of Lisbon's 7 hills, all right, and crashed into Terra do Paco. However, there is no evidence that this has actually happened. Later, Guzmão was pursued by the Inquisition and left Portugal. Before leaving the country, he gave his brother several drawings of his balloons. All right. After some time, his brother worked at Portugal's embassy in Paris and established some contacts to José de Barros, a scientist close to the Montgolfier brothers. All right. So I'm showing you the connection on how they got all of this knowledge, all right, and where they got it from. The first people to construct a balloon that performed a recorded manned flight in history, all right, and we know that's in his story, all right.
I wonder what is the emergency. I hear shots! Okay, ma'am, calm down. What kind of shots?
Not the story, his story, all right. Short before the French Revolution, the brothers Joseph Michael and Jacques Letienne Montgolfier built a globe-shaped balloon of sackcloth with 3 thin layers of paper inside. The envelope could have nearly 790 metric cubes of air and weighed 225 kilograms. It was constructed of 4 pieces, dome, and 3 lateral bands, and held together by 1,800 buttons. A reinforcing fishnet of cord covered outside the envelope. All right. In June 4th, 1783, Montgolfier's aircraft performed its first public demonstration at Hanoi in front of a group of dignitaries from the Etats particulars. The related flight covered 2 kilometers, folks. All right. So they're getting busy. All right. The related flight covered 2 kilometers, lasted 10 minutes, and had an estimated altitude of 1,600 to 2,000 meters. Word of success quickly reached Paris. All right, Etienne went to the capital to make further demonstrations and to solidify the brothers' claim to the invention of flight. All right, so after they got the stolen knowledge, all right, from the Templars, all right, and we know where that knowledge is stolen from, all right, from us, all right. But and just matter of fact, when we had this image up, that's what I wanted to show you, all right, because this is supposed to be a depiction, all right. And what you'll find is that you see there are multiple people in the crowd with turbans on, all right? There's a guy right here with the turban on, all right, right in the mix. I believe here's another depiction, all right? And these are from the 1700 paintings and shit. All right, and this is because they've stolen the science. All right, look at this. All right, and where is it talking about? Let me see. And we can find this in the Americas. So when I tell you this, all right, don't think that I'm trying to make you believe that you're an Arab or something. All right. This is from Saga America. All right, and this is a trail of language, Arabic, and inscriptions. All right. This is a map. All right, showing the inscriptions. All right, the Arabic inscriptions all over the planet Earth. All right, and how they move. And once you start studying, it makes more sense that this is a jet stream and not the ocean. All right. It says a trail of Arabic language and inscriptions. All right. Relic alphabets and fossils. All right. Vocabulary curves around the globe and marks the ancient trans-Pacific sea roads to North America. Classical Arabic still extant. All right. They're showing you what each number represents. All right, on the map. I'm sure you're most interested in the Nevada area, number 6. All right. what is it? Arabic script formerly used Muslim or former Muslim communities in Arab Christian 6, Honakim Arabic written and spoken, Libyan and Kufic Arabic, all right, alphabets now extinct. So what I find most interesting when these people are reaching to tell us that this Arabic language is spreading, all right, from all over the world to the Americas. Well, what you'll find odd about this is that the Arabic language is expressed in its oldest form, all right, in the Americas. All right, and the reason I'm even bringing that up is because these high sciences, all right, that are required, this geometry, all right, algebras, formal mathematics, the analysis of equations, the art of reasoning about quantitative relations by the aid of a compact and highly systemized notation, 1550s, folks. All right, this is 200 years prior to them discovering flight. All right, and you'll see it's from the medieval Latin. I said medieval Latin algebra from Arabic, al-Muqtasar fi Hisab al-Jabr wal al-Muqabala, the compendium on calculation by restoring and balancing. All right, the title of a famous 9th century treatise on equations by Baghdad mathematician Abu Jafar Muhammad ibn Musa al-Khwarizmi. All right, this is where you get your word algebra. All right, this is where you get the word algorithm. All right, 1690s. Again, this is 100 years prior to these guys having any of these sciences, these Templars. All right, algorithm is a 1690 Arabic system of computation, folks. From French algorithme, refashioned under mistaken connection with Greek arithmos, number from Old French algorithme, the Arabic numeral system. All right, from medieval Latin algorithmus, a mangled translation of Arabic. All right, Arabic al-Khwarizmi, native of Khwarazm, modern Khiva in Uzbekistan, surname of the mathematician whose work introduced sophisticated mathematics to the West, allegedly. All right, and where does it come? The earlier form in Middle English was algorithm, early 13th century, from where, folks? From Old French. All right. So these guys, all right, and if, look, I can't make this shit up, folks, all right? I can't make this shit up. This is straight out of Berryfield's book again, all right? This is from a section called The Great Navigations, all right? He says, Nevada children probably in summer school, all right, actually fall and spring were, upland hunting seasons, as Heiser and Beaumont infer, learned that the Earth, globe, all right, and you see the Libyan Arabic, TB, Arabic Taba, globe, encircled by the equator and tropics, and they learn how flat maps are related to the grid of spherical, latitude and longitude established by the Libyan scientist Eratosthenes. These principles of school petroglyphs occur in southeastern California. What? Where the Arabic speaking Westerners, probably Hohokam, also spent time. Now, again, they want to, I'm noticing everybody wants to take, to make us be, influenced by someone else. But all of the influence that's here in the Americas is dated to be the oldest, all right? The Arabic speaking Western, blah, blah, blah. Professor Julian Westward designated one site by his number 38, the other is number 210, blah, blah, blah. The anthropologists who explored the petroglyph region left excellent accounts of what they found, but failed to see the significance because they did not recognize the writing. All right. Do we have more of the writing? Because I don't want you to think I'm giving credit to someone else. All right. It says alphabet shared by North America and North Africa. A northern Iberian script is native to the eastern and central Algonquin tribes. Shown in A is the style of Arabic script in most general use in the Arabic world today. All right? Now check this out. It's mind-blowing, folks, and undeniable. You see line A, all right? Line A at the top, this is Arabic script. Now what is line B? All right? Put a 1 in the chat if line A and line B look very similar, almost the same. almost as if someone else wrote it in their own handwriting. All right. Well, what is that? What is B, Hawk School? All right. A is the Northern Iberian script. Well, what is B? The letters in use by the Cree and Ojibwe tribes are shown in B, folks. All right.
Subscribe to the Unconquered Tribe. You are now live with the incredible host.
Wow,
This is Hawk School for the gifted and the elect.
All right. The letters in use by the Cree and Ojibwe tribes are shown in B, and very similar forms have been adopted by other Algonquin tribes. About 1950, a slightly modified form was adopted by the Eskimos of Canada. All right, they're a little tardy to the party, folks. All right, but they're comparing the scripts. They have Egyptian script. All right, but all of this, as you see, goes right with the Americas. All right, this is Ojibwe writing in B. All right. So, I mean, what are they going to say? It's a great book, all right? And even when you're dealing with the dwellings of these people, they're also very similar, all right? It says that the pueblos of New Mexico, and you can Google these photos. I just didn't have time, all right, because I wanted to present all this, and I had a lot on my mind to keep together. But it says the pueblos of New Mexico present a similar aspect to that of the abandoned hillside villages. I said the abandoned hillside villages on the slopes of the Jabal Nafasa in inland Tripolitania, overlooking the plain of Jafara. All right, so you thought this was in Mexico. No, folks, that is in North Africa. And I'm sure we could pull up an image, but this is for the sake of showing how these structures are built, the style of these structures, all right, more so than pulling the structures up right now, all right? Because we just want to deal with the fact that this information is being stolen from us, all right? It's being stolen from us. and we're being taught that we live in teepees, all right? And these guys are observing the jet stream, noting there's a great river of air which always blows from east to west, all right? Let's get... What does, we see what the Bible says about it, all right? Even the word owl, all right? These guys are going to have a hard time, all right? I'm glad they're proving that English language is indigenous, all right? Because owl in words from Arabic or assumed to be, it is the definite article the, sometimes rendered in English as el, all right? Examples include almanac, alchemy, alcohol, algebra. All of these are Arabic words, folks, all right? When we get into the build, we'll do more. We'll get more into that. All right, I think, did I bring this up? All right, dealing with back to the topic at hand. All right, first balloon launched to spy on Confederate positions took place in late July 1861. All right, this was the first time in American history that balloons were used for reconnaissance. Both sides started to use the tactic. Telegraphs would even be hooked up by the balloon in order to get instant information, folks. All right? Instant information. This is portrayed in newspapers. It's portrayed in, all right, taking McClellan's eye into the air, a Civil War sketch drawn by an artist during the famous 7 Days campaign before Richmond, showing Professor Lowe sailing the balloon Intrepid into the air for a scouting trip. All right, this is in the newspaper. All right, that's the Intrepid. That's what we saw at the beginning, part of the balloon corps. All right, these are actual photos. All right, of the balloon corps. All right, so what are we talking about, folks? You didn't know we could fly. All right. Why? Because they don't want you to know who you are, because they're stealing every damn thing from you. All right. I want to stay on topic here, but I have another video. Let's see what else. What does...
They claim to have discovered the secrets of Suleiman. What secrets of Suleiman? How he controlled the jinn and the animals.
Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters. Sulaiman alayhi salam was a prophet and a king, and Allah gave him some unique power which he gave to no other prophets. And Sulaiman alayhi salam could deal with shayateen, jinn, wind, and animals.
We all should know, those of us that have studied a little bit of Islam, that Sulaiman was given something that nobody else was given. We know this? Sulaiman was given something that no other prophet was given, no other person was given. And that's what the dua he made to Allah. Oh Allah, give me a power. Mulk here doesn't just mean a kingdom, it means the power, the mulukiyya, the kingdom or the control that no one after me will have. So Allah says, because of his dua, we gave him the power of the wind. فَسَخَّرْنَا لَهُ الرِّيحَ. Right? تَجْرِي بِأَمْرِ رَخَانِ حَيْثُ أَصَابَ. وَالشَّيَاطِينَ you will have. So Allah says, because of his dua, we gave him the power of the wind. فَسَخَّرْنَا لَهُ الرِّيحَ. Right? تَجْرِي بِأَمْرِ رَخَانِ حَيْثُ أَصَابَ. وَالشَّيَاطِينَ we gave him the power of the shayateen. And in other verses, we gave him the power to speak to animals. So the animals, وَحُشِرَ لِسُلَيْمَانَ جُنُودُهُ مِنَ الْجِنِّ وَالْإِنسِ وَالطَّيْرِ. And all of the armies of Sulaiman, from the jinn and the ins and the birds, all of these are armies of Sulaiman. So Sulaiman was given the power to control the jinn, okay, and even the animals and the wind. It is said that after Sulaiman died, or according to one opinion, even while he was alive, the shayateen claimed to have unlocked his power. What was the power according to the shayateen? The shayateen said, Sulaiman knows black magic. So he's controlling the jinn through sihr, through black magic. Then Allah defends Sulaiman. وَمَا كَفَرَ Sulaiman. Sulaiman did not commit kufr.
Sulaiman did not commit kufr. Sulaiman was not a disbeliever. All right, and that's why I say this: the story of Sulaiman is very reminiscent, I should say, of what we find in Palenque. All right, like straight up. All right, building great structures, having power over devils. All right. Look at these magnificent structures. What are we talking about Egypt for, folks? Respectfully.
I see dead people. All right, one at a time, y'all. We got the Incredible Hulk in the building. What's up, man?
Oh shit.
Now we know that these Templar guys, all right, Solomon's their big homie, but he's descended from the house of David. All right. Let's play a little more just so we would see what everyone has to say about the topic.
وَلَكِنَّ الشَّيَاطِينَ كَفَرُوا. Rather, it was the shayateen who committed kufr. Now, the verse is very difficult to understand without context. The story goes as follows. It is said that during the time of Sulaiman, that somehow they managed to catch him at a time of neglect or whatever, and they started slandering and spreading rumors about him, so that people lose respect for Sulaiman. And of the things that they said was that Sulaiman is a magician, and that he controls the jinn through sihr. And Allah says some of the modern Yahud believe this as well. And they're, instead of following the Quran, they're following the shayateen. Then Allah defends Sulaiman. Sulaiman was not a kafir. وَمَا كَفَرَ Sulaiman. This shows us that practicing magic makes you a kafir. Because the jinns accused Sulaiman of being a magician, not of being a kafir. And Allah defended Sulaiman by saying, He didn't say Sulaiman was not a magician. Rather, Allah said Sulaiman did not commit kufr. And from this, the scholars have derived that practicing magic is disbelief in Allah. It was the shayateen who committed kufr. How did they commit kufr? يُعَلِّمُونَ النَّاسَ السِّحْرِ. They were the ones teaching mankind sihr.
All right, so even when we look into the text of the Quran, all right.
All right, one at a time, y'all. We got the Incredible Hulk in the building. What's up, man?
Oh shit.
When we look into the text of the Quran, for those who want to say it's a book of magic, well, we see that the Quran speaks very vehemently against magic, all right, and says that those who follow magic are kufr, all right, they're disbelievers, all right, they don't believe in the Most High, and this is how they got tricked into this ideology, all right, of believing that they have some type of secret knowledge when they have nothing but knowledge that was known to our ancestors, taught to the children amongst us, all right, but was somehow stolen. And this, let me see if there's more in this Barry Feld book. I was reading so much. All right, that's not the one. I wanted to read more on the navigation. All right, because they're talking about the discovery of the ancient maps. All right, because these maps, we know that the maps. All right, we know who the map makers are. Let's get this up here. Which one is this? That's because what they're doing, what Barry Feld is doing in his book is pretty much showing and proving how the culture of Egypt, North Africa, the Iberian Peninsula, and the Americas is basically all connected. All right, even when we're dealing with Egypt. All right, this is the Ponttotoc stele. All right, found in Oklahoma. All right, is apparently the work of an early Iberian colonist in America. All right, and again, that's what I said about how they want to say that these influences are from somewhere else, but the oldest forms of these writing systems, all right, such as the Celtic writing, I believe it's Ogum or something, all right, that has been found here. All right, which connects, again, the Scots to the Americas as well as to North Africa, Egypt. Of course, we know that Scotland is Scota land, all right, daughter of the Pharaoh, all right. But here we see a stele, all right, found in Oklahoma, all right. Nobody's talking about this, and we know this on site looks almost exactly like the portrayal of the Aten in the Akhenaten inscriptions. But you see this boat over here, all right? And they actually say that, well, they have the images. I don't think I download them because I'm saving them for another build, where they're showing, you know, this boat making, all right? And that's why once I was reading the book and connecting a lot of the dots, it was mind-blowing, because I said, this doesn't really look like any of the Gulf Stream, the different currents in the ocean, all right, that I have that map. I don't think I have it up. But this line of Arabic script that's going across the planet Earth, right? Classical Arabic, Maghrib Arabic, Malay, all right? Formerly using Arabic script, still retaining much Arabic vocabulary, all right? Dayak and C-Dayak with Arabic loan words. So he's just showing all the different places, all right? But as we see, this looks more like a wind stream, all right? What it says, while English-speaking children learn the CAT, all right, spells cat, relics of the ancient schools in Nevada, all right? Put some gems in the chat if you can see that, all right? Relics of the ancient school sites in Nevada show the Americans 1,000 years ago were taught that FLQ spells Arabic and Libyan folk or felucca, scattered petroglyphs of stylized ships. It spells ship. FLQ spells ship. All right. Let's get this up on the screen. I want you to see everything clearly. And again, this is from Saga of America. All right, Barry Feld, and he's a Harvard archaeologist, professor ass nigga. There's nothing they could do with it. All they could do is say, well, he disagrees with you here. I'm not saying that his book is the Bible. All I'm saying is that he's done the research, and these inscriptions he's finding in the Americas connect us all over the planet Earth. All right? And again, it says, while English-speaking children, all right, learn that CAT spells cat, relics of the ancient school sites in Nevada show that young Americans 1,000 years ago were taught that FLQ spells ship, Arabic and Libyan, folk or felucca, scattered petroglyphs of stylized ships, sometimes with the Arabic or Libyan lettering mistaken for Indian doodles, all right? Because he's finding stuff that these guys have just disqualified just because they couldn't read Arabic, All right, mistaken for Indian doodles are widespread in the hunting areas of Nevada. Boys were apparently taught by schoolmasters while the elders, all right, were busy in the hunting season, taking skins and furs for the trans markets. All right, this example is at Stewart Site 207 in the Grimes Petrocliff area of Churchill County, Nevada. All right. Here you see a Muslim personal name, Hamid, tranquil, inscribed in ancient Kufic Arabic, reading from right to left. H-M-I-D, Hamid, all right, dating from sometime after 650 AD, folks, and replicated from an engraving at the Atlatl, all right, ATL, folks, the Atlatl rock in the Valley of Fire, Nevada. It was formerly regarded as a meaningless Indian petroglyph and classified as a curvilinear meander type 14. This is the epigraphic museum photo from Peter J. Garfield and Dr. Julian Fell. All right.
All right, one at a time, y'all. We got the Incredible Hulk in the building. What's up, man?
So I see why these guys are only picking sentences, all right? Not even a whole paragraph out of these books, all right? Because it's going to make the connection of this mighty empire that we had all over the planet Earth, all right? These guys didn't know we could fly, folks, all right? They weren't supposed to tell us, all right? That's right. The old silver Airstream RV motorhome looks like a blimp. Shout out to Thundy Media in the chat. Tribe.
And it's known as written that the righteous shall inherit the kingdom of God, the earth, and the wicked shall be shaken out.
So, again, all right, these guys don't know what they're talking about, stealing history, all right, trying to erase the real connections we have. And the Barry Fell books really show the connection of the ancient Celts, all right, the Scots, the Picts, whatever they want to call them, all right, niggas from America. All right, all through this bitch, thousands of years. All right, thousands of years. We've ruled these same land masses. All right, let me do this here. Damn it. Yeah, man, this is some serious things that we're learning here. All right, we'll have to get more into the book to get into the details. All right, but I just find it very interesting that all these key players are here. All right, all these key players are always telling us the same lies. All right, and here we see AD 14, the difference of where Mauritania is in ancient Mauritania, all right, compared to modern Mauritania. All right, and how all these connections are being made. As you can see here on the map, all right, we ruled this, all right? We ruled all of this because these are major waterways. And you see here at the top of the map in the gray, all right, these are all Germanic tribes, all right? These are all Germanic tribes pushing in, all right, to Spain. All right, because remember up here in the top left where you see the Hawking symbol, that Scotland and all that they're a chain of islands. All right, don't have nothing to do with Europe. Don't have nothing to do with these Knights Templars. All right, who are stealing everything and giving it to Zaddy. All right. So who knew? All right, that they were running reconnaissance missions in the Civil War, all right, in Abraham Lincoln's time. Who knew that there was a great river of air which always blows from east to west? All right, and when you get into the actual the Quran, it talks about this. It speaks of this. All right, this is the John Wise guy. All right, John Wise, a wise guy. All right, so we already know this is typical brotherhood shit. All right, trying to steal the goddamn sauce. Aerial reconnaissance, 1861. I really want this to sink in because, you know, we telegraphs, all right? Wi-Fi. All right, we already discovered the ironclads and the submarines, so now we got submarines, goddamn ironclads, we got fireworks, we got goddamn airships, all right? So somebody's not telling the truth. And it's being exposed. And again here, all right, just in case niggas think it's a game, I know they hate shit like this, all right? Because we undefeated over here at Hawk School. You know what I'm talking about? We undefeated. This is Jacques Charles, 1746-1823. Jacques Alexander Caesar Charles, French physicist, chemist, and inventor. Charles and Marie Noel Roberts stepping out of their balloon. All right? Stepping out of their balloon, folks. Near France, after the first manned hydrogen balloon flight in December 1783. All right, contemporary hand-colored etching. So, wait a minute, folks. A hydrogen balloon flight? December 1783? All right, what's really going on? All right, these guys aren't telling you about any of this. All right, because if you knew that you had this type of advanced technology, well, Atlantis wouldn't be a myth anymore, would it, folks?
I wonder what is the emergency. I hear shots! Okay, ma'am, calm down. What kind of shots?
And this is more representations of Pakal. All right, promoted the product activity of the region, both for commerce and land consumption. All right, also promoted the written record of all military actions, ceremonies, and important events, which has helped historians and archaeologists of our time to study and better understand the history of Palenque. All right, Pakal's tombstone measures 3.80 meters. All right, 3.8 meters long by 2.80 meters long by 2.20 meters wide and heights 7 tons. It shows the ruler as the center of the universe. Below he has the underworld, in the middle the tree of life, and above the god Itzamana, represented as a Quetzalcoatl, a Quetzal. All right, and here you see the Quetzal portrayed. Let me see if I could zoom in on this for y'all. This is an etching of that actual image. Let's see. I think I got to click on it. Let's see, open image in a new tab so we can see it a little better. So you can see the depictions, all right? And what did it say in the Quran? That Solomon had birds in his army, all right? And this is a depiction of flight, all right? But they're going to tell you, well, he was an ancient astronaut, all right? What do you mean he was an ancient astronaut? Well, that was Ezekiel's will. And even, what is this? Here, go type it in there. The Arab who developed scientific theory, Ibn al-Haytham. All right? Let's go here. All right? He is sometimes described as the first scientist. All right? First true scientist. According to Al-Khalili, the first true scientist, BBC New Archive. Let's go straight to BBC. All right? Let's go straight to the UK. All right? Straight to the UK. The first true scientist, all right? Isaac Newton is, as most will agree, the greatest physicist of all time. At the very least, he is the undisputed father of modern optics. Or so we are told at school, where our textbooks abound with his famous experiments with lenses and prisms, his study of the nature of light and its reflection and the refraction and decomposition of light into the colors of the rainbow. Yet the truth is rather grayer, and I feel it important to point out that certainly in the field of optics, Newton himself stood on the shoulders of a giant who lived 700 years earlier, folks. All right, so everybody's telling us about Isaac Newton when Al-Hasan ibn al-Haytham lived 700 years prior, for without doubt another great physicist who is worthy of ranking up alongside Newton is a scientist born in AD 965. Now, the Kufic script that we're finding in the Americas predates this guy. All right, and what is now Iraq, who went by the name of Al-Hasan ibn al-Haytham. All right, most people in the West will never have heard of him, folks. All right, most people in the West haven't, all right, because you got all these guys who are either crypto Jews or Catholic Knights, all enemies of the culture, all right. Says most people of the West will have never heard of him. As a physicist myself, and this is according to the BBC, all right, news, I am quite in awe of this man's contribution to my field, but I was fortunate enough to have recently been given the opportunity to dig a little into his life and work through my recent filming of a 3-part BBC 4 series on medieval Islamic scientists. All right. Popular accounts of the history of science typically suggest that no major scientific advances took place in between the ancient Greeks and the European Renaissance. But just because Western Europe languished in the Dark Ages, does that mean there was stagnation elsewhere? Indeed, the period between the 9th and 13th centuries marked the golden age of Arabic science, folks. Great advances were made in mathematics, astronomy, medicine, physics, chemistry, and philosophy. Among the many geniuses of that period, Ibn al-Haytham stands taller than all others. Ibn al-Haytham is regarded as the father of the modern scientific method. All right, so you got these guys talking all this big science shit, all right? Arabic science, Moorish science, and Kemetic science. All right, when Ibn al-Haytham is regarded as the father of the modern scientific method, folks. As commonly defined, this is the approach to investigating phenomena, acquiring new knowledge or correcting and integrating previous knowledge based on the gathering of data through observation and measurement, all right? The same thing that we're learning at the schools, all right, here in the Americas, or according to the findings, all right? And we're talking about primary sources, folks. All right, it's carved in the rocks.
Hey, listen, just warming up. I don't know what his hood at, but my hood like 5 minutes down the street, man. Let's get it.
Carved on the rocks. The writing is on the wall. All right. Followed by the formulation and testing of hypotheses to explain the data. And I find this very interesting because I saw one of these Pan-Africans, one of these sellout, all right, these former Saracens who decided to sell out to Zadie to become Catholic Knights, all right. I saw one of their descendants, all right, and speaking about Prophet Muhammad, may God be pleased with him, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, about him being in a cave and not knowing that the understanding of light actually came from the observations made by Ibn al-Haytham, all right, conducted in a cave, all right, but he wants to say some weirdness. Well, they're in a hot desert. It's probably cooler than standing out in the middle of the street like a prostitute, all right? It goes on to say, and I want to put this on the screen, all right, because it's going to be hard for these guys to debunk this, all right?
I wonder what is your emergency. I hear shots! Okay, ma'am, calm down. What kind of shots?
This is how we do science today, all right? And is why I put my trust in the advances that have been made by science. But it is often still claimed that modern scientific method was not established until when, guys? Early 17th century, all right? And we find this is the same time that these guys are stealing the ability to fly, right? Francis Bacon and Rene Descartes. There is no doubt in my mind, however, that Ibn al-Haytham arrived there first. In fact, with his emphasis on experimental data, reproducibility of results, he is often referred to as the world's first true scientist. All right. He was the first scientist to give a correct account of how we see objects. He proved experimentally. All right. I don't know why this white guy has to put himself here. All right. He proved experimentally that the so-called emission theory, which stated that light from our eyes shines upon the object we see, which was believed by great thinkers such as Plato, Euclid, and Ptolemy, was wrong, and established the modern idea that we see because light enters our eyes. All right. What he also did that no other scientist has tried before was to use mathematics to describe, all right, and prove this process. So he can be regarded as the very first theoretical physicist, too. He is perhaps best known for his invention of the pinhole camera and should be credited with the discovery of the laws of refraction. He also carried out the first experiments on the dispersion of light into the constituent colors and studied shadows, rainbows, and eclipses. So while these guys are talking about, goddamn, it's hard out here for a pimp, all right? these are secrets, all right? These are secrets that have been stolen. And now you want to give credit to some brotherhood and lie about Islam and its existence in the Americas. Prior to all of this, prior to his story.
All right, one at a time, y'all. We got the Incredible Hulk in the building. What's up, man?
Oh, shit.
He carried out the first experiments on the dispersion of light into constituent colors and studied shadows, rainbows, and eclipses, and by observing the way sunlight diffracted through the atmosphere, he was able to work out a rather good estimate for the height of the atmosphere, which he found to be around 100 kilometers. All right. In common with the many modern scholars, Ibn al-Haytham badly needed the time in isolation to focus on writing his many treatises, including his great work on optics. He was given an unwelcome opportunity, however, when he was imprisoned in Egypt, all right, between 1011 and 1021, having failed a task set him by a caliph in Cairo to help solve the problem of regulating the flood of the Nile. So how do these guys not know Ibn al-Haytham? While still in Basra, Ibn al-Haytham had claimed that the Nile's autumn flood waters could be held by a system of dikes and canals, thereby preserved as reservoirs until the summer droughts. We see this prevalent, these same abilities amongst the American Indian. But on arrival in Cairo, he soon realized that his scheme was utterly impractical from an engineering perspective, yet rather than admit his mistake to the dangerous and murderous caliph, Ibn Haytham instead decided to feign madness as a way to escape punishment. Now, this is a very interesting story. This promptly led him, to being placed under house arrest, thereby granted him 10 years of seclusion in which to work. He was only released after the caliph's death, He returned to Iraq, where he composed a further 100 works on a range of subjects in physics and mathematics. While traveling through the Middle East during my filming, I interviewed an expert in Alexandria who showed me recently discovered work by Ibn al-Haytham on astronomy. It seems he had developed what is called celestial mechanics, explaining the orbits of the planets, which was led to the eventual works of Europeans like Copernicus, Galileo, Kepler, and Newton. It's incredible that we are only now uncovering that the debt of today's physicists owe to an Arab who lived 1,000 years ago. And this is according to Professor Jim Al-Khalili, presents Science and Islam on BBC. What can they say, folks? What can they say? All right. So when you hear these guys talking all this hip science shit, all right, and they're denying the existence of the culture, all right, here in the Americas, it's obvious why, all right, because then you'll know you can fly. You know what I'm talking about? Straight up.
Subscribe to the Unconquered Tribe. You are now live with the Incredible Hulk.
Wow,
this is Hulk School for the Gifted and the Elect.
We're going to take a quick break, all right, and we'll get back to it. Tribe, share the live stream. Put some gems in the chat if you're learning something.
I want you to do your research and spread truth, which is liberation. People are living lives. Our history has been completely changed in order to meet the lives of this country.
And it's known as written that the righteous shall inherit the kingdom of God, the earth, and the wicked shall be shaken out.
You gon' smell my cologne. Intimate Yaki on some bar number 9, cause I do not play.
That's the same clone I wear.
Yeah, the sanctuary, cause we keep God first in everything we do.
Hey, Pimp.
Y'all finished or y'all done? I ain't got no more to talk.
And it's known, it's written, that the righteous shall inherit the kingdom of God, the earth. And the wicked